Hi, I'm John.
I'm Michael.
And we're with MKE Slatwall, and we're here to show you a demonstration on how to install our laminate slat wall. We're going to use this wall. This will be our canvas. But before we start, we're going to show you what you would need for tool-wise to get this project done. The first thing you're going to need is a drill. This is the most important part. The drill is to drive the screws through. You're going to need the screws to go through the slots and get the studs behind there. You don't need to do any pre-drilling, and you just want to make sure that the screws are all the way flush on the back end of the slot.
With that, you have to know where the studs are. We always recommend using a stud finder so that you know exactly where to drive your screws in.
Next, we got a tape measure. This is for cutting. When you need to cut our panels, any woodworking tools will do the trick. So circle saw, jigsaw, miter saw, multi-tools will do it. It cuts just like wood does, so very easy.
Next, you'll find that the most important part is getting your first panel in level. So you'll want a level. The longer the level, the better. But we always would recommend using a laser level. If you're going to have multiple panels, the laser level can guide you across all of them at once.
Lastly, we got the screws here. For our installation, we're going to use the color matching inserts. And because of that, it doesn't matter what color our screws are. So we actually got some deck screws here instead of the color matching screws. A few things to note: you're going to want a flat head, so it's got to be flush. You're going to want it to be between 1 5/8 to 2.5 inches in length, depending on your installation and what you're going through. And then size-wise, you're going to want this to be number 6 or number 8, so it'll fit between the slots. All right, so that's all the tools we'll need. We'll get this started. Let's grab the first panel. All right, this is typically a 2-person job. I'm gonna hold the middle here, and we got the laser level to kind of line this up to get us where we need it to be. We got to slide over here. All right. While I hold it in the middle, we're gonna have Michael drive this through. He'll get the first screw in for us.
It's really important to make sure, and you'll see me looking at the laser line, that the first one is in the right spot.
Is this a good spot?
This is looking great, John.
I'm gonna hold it tight. All right, now over here, this is anchored in. On this side, it's not anchored, so we can go up or down depending on where we like the position. So this gives us an opportunity to re-level this where we need it to be. All right, once we're there, we're gonna let Michael drive this one in. Once you get the second screw in, this is gonna be pretty much locked in. Nice, okay. So after that, you get the bottom panel in first. Once we get that in, we're gonna start stacking this up and get the rest of this in. We'll do a time lapse to kind of speed this up, and so we'll finish this up. All right, that is a full installation of one of our 8-foot cases. You got 4 feet in height, you got 8 feet in length, which is 32 square feet. There are a few tips and tricks we gotta mention. The first is when you're putting these screws in, you gotta make sure to get them in between the slots. You don't want to kind of go over or below. You don't want to mar the front of the panel, so you gotta be a little careful about that. The other thing is you gotta make sure you find every stud. In our situation, we already had the studs located, so we just followed the holes up. But you gotta make sure you find the studs. You gotta make sure these is anchored into every stud. Another thing is we actually went in every other slot for our installation. For the maximum holding capacity, we do recommend hitting every slot. And then our stud situation is 24. Most garages are 16 inches apart. It doesn't matter if it's 24 or 16, but you do want to hit every stud to get that maximum holding capacity. And the last thing that we need to get done on this installation is get the inserts and the trim, but we'll do that on a later video. But that's how you install our laminate slat wall. And to get your product, visit us at mkeslatwall.com.